If you're interested in technical marketing and you have some interest in cloud and identity and the technique known as microsegmentation, stay with us. You're going to enjoy the next visitor that we have, the next interview. We're going to learn a little bit about some key aspects of how microsegmentation works in cloud, along with some suggestions for marketing issues, for example, like time to value. So I hope you'll stick around and watch our video. Hi, I'm Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Dana Yanch, who is the Director of Technical Marketing at Elisity. Dana's going to tell us a little bit about what they do over at the company, and then I got some questions for Dana about about cloud and identity and all kinds of things. You're going to enjoy it. Pretty topical stuff. So, Dana, how you doing? Welcome to the discussion.
I'm great. Thanks, Ed. Thanks for having me today.
It's nice to see you. So, hey, Dana, why don't you first tell us a little bit about the company? What do you guys do over at Elicity? What do you guys do for your customers?
Yeah, here at Elisity, we're a bunch of guys and gals really focused on identity-based microsegmentation and simplifying it for the industry. We're taking this in a different direction. We're making this a cloud-delivered architecture, and it's been a pretty incredible journey so far.
That's good. But so people talk about microsegmentation all the time. I always think of it like this little bubble around the workload or app or something. But what are like, you guys are doing a little differently? What's when people ask you about microsegmentation, what do you usually say?
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of several different things. The way we've approached this, we're trying to bring a least privilege access architecture to organizations, and what that means is just locking down the network, the existing conduits within the network that are usually fully open, locking them down to only the ports and protocols and the traffic flows required so that users and apps and devices can do their job effectively, and just that, and that's it, nothing more. So limiting the blast radius and things like that.
That's cool. That gives you an idea of the dependencies and communication that's a workload would have. I'll bet you for some of your customers that may be the first time they've actually seen, what that looks like. They can sort of define their policies. Has that been your experience?
That is our experience. Either they've never had a strategy to lock down this inner core of the network that's been traditionally implicitly trusted, or they've tried solutions, legacy network access control solutions, or really complex software overlay solutions, and pulled away from them. They weren't effective or just really hard to deploy and manage over long periods of time.
Yeah, at Tag Cyber, we recommend microsegmentation as a way of getting a good, solid policy, almost shrink wrapped to the minimum kind of communication dependency that a workload would have. It's a nice thing to do. Not easy, but I guess working with a team like Elicity is probably good. Now, when you and I were discussing earlier, when we were prepping for our video, you had three really nice ideas around topics related to this. One was related to time to value, another around cloud, and a third around identity. Tell me, what is time to value? And I know you guys focus on that in your marketing. What does that mean?
Yeah, and not just in our marketing, we've implemented rapid time to value as the focus of our solution. And what that means is, instead of spending months to years getting a complex solution in place, and then eventually finding the time after that investment to build a policy, let's say a year later, we want organizations and customers to basically turn on a spigot and get all the features and functionality packaged up for them, with little investment in implementing the solution, and
Right.
then care and feeding over a long period of time. The implementation solution should be rapid, and then you should be able to build policy next day or even same day and have that effective at the edge of your network really quickly. And so that's the time to value. We've implemented that as a part of both the design of the solution and monitoring and managing over time.
I would imagine that comes from the visibility that you provide as you drop the solution in. I'm going to very quickly get insight into things I didn't know about before. So getting that fast is pretty useful. That's pretty
That's
cool.
absolutely correct. Yes, that's absolutely correct. It's a couple of things, and we'll go over it a little bit together. later on. But the fact that the solution is cloud delivered and
Yeah.
100%
Let's stay on
software.
that. That was your second point around cloud. I like that. Like the cloud delivery is important. Go ahead, Shai. I didn't mean to interrupt, but what do you guys do now?
No, yeah, absolutely. No, it's actually it's exciting. I love cloud
Yeah.
delivered solutions. Last three organizations that startups that I worked for were all cloud delivered and extremely successful. And really, what it is instead of adding additional complexity and hardware and rip and replace and upgrades of your physical infrastructure, we've packaged up the functionality into a microservices cloud delivered, cloud native platform. So a customer will just subscribe to the solution and they get the keys to the kingdom. They log into their software as a solution, or software as a service platform that we instantiate for them. So it's our control plane, management plane, policy plane is all hosted in the cloud and then offered as a service to the customer. Now, that whole piece is software, but what they put on-prem is also software, and it's lightweight Docker application type software. So it's super easy to implement and super easy to manage and upgrade. It's completely network agnostic. You don't have to manipulate IP addressing or change your networking architecture. None of that. It's just you turn, like I said, it's a spigot. You turn it on and you get that functionality.
Are you guys usually selling to like cloud teams or security teams or DevOps or maybe all of the above? Like who typically would you guys be talking to when you're making sales calls? What group would be on the line?
Yeah, typically we're talking to network architects or network security
Oh, okay.
architects. Yeah,
Hmm.
not so much cloud architects. They're a completely different breed of people, and my previous startup was all working with them. But yeah, we're more so people that are focused on securing the infrastructure, whether it's the edge or the inside of the network. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, the third thing we talked about might be the most interesting of the three, and that's identity. So, what's been your experience? Has that been kind of the key to making microsegmentation work, like the identification of the
Yeah.
origin, source, and in some cases the context of the workload? Is that the key aspect here to make this all work?
It's a major point of it. If the solution is able to dynamically profile devices and users and apps and learn detailed information, detailed attributes about them, and then you can leverage those attributes as a part of your policy, it makes your policy more intelligent, simpler to define and manage over time, and it doesn't relegate you to leveraging or using these rigid network constructs. I'm talking about like IP addresses and VLANs, VRFs, and private VLANs, and things that don't provide any context about what's on the network and if it's a legitimate user device or application. So I see identity allows us to truly ensure that who or what is on the network is actually supposed to be on the network. So we can go pretty deep into identifying what that user device or app is and then build fine or coarse grain policies based off of that. Um,
Yeah, it struck me that in quite some time looking at microsegmentation, both as a practitioner and also now as an analyst at Tag Cyber, that if you want to get the policy right, you do need to know the baseline dependencies in communication. So that's something you guys do quite well. But you also, to your point, need to have a pretty good idea of who's accessing what, or else how do you establish the policy? You don't really know what you're dealing with. So I love those
yeah,
three things, like the time to value and the cloud delivery and focus on identity. Those are strong themes. So that's good. How's business? You guys dealing with just about every segment? Are there any ones that are more powerful, like banks or something, or is everybody sort of equally interested in microsegmentation?
it's a universal problem. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what vertical you're in. All organizations need to consider microsegmentation, identity-based microsegmentation, because traditionally, for the last 10 to 15 years, Ed, we've been so focused on hardening the outside of the wall, outside of the network, building this impenetrable wall, and that makes sense because attackers were trying to get in, right? That was the main entry point. But that's been solved for years. We've figured that out. We have firewalls that do a great job securing the WAN edge, the internet edge, the DMZ. But we've forgotten about this soft inner core of the network because, like I said before, we've just implicitly trusted. If you got past that impenetrable wall, you must be a legitimate user. But that's not the case, because what we're finding is that all the more recent attacks, all these threat actors are now focused on exploiting trusted users within the network and then using them as jump off points. Users or devices, trusted user devices or applications, using them as hop off points because they're trusted. And then sometimes you don't even know if they're on your network because they're just crawling around as a
Yeah.
trusted, until something happens, until you have ransomware or your process control network goes down. And to answer your question before, it's a universal solution. So we're successful in pretty much all verticals, whether that's in the medical industry, the process control network, operational technology network, or just traditional corporate carpeted space. It's the same thing to us. To the user, how they build policy will be different because the assets, their crown jewels, are different. They're different, located in different places, and the architecture is a little bit different. But to us, we're agnostic to that. We're focused on securing the identity, whether that's a PLC, a camera, a user. Doesn't matter to us.
Yeah, the OT area in particular is really interesting because that does beg some sort of shrink wrap around the workload. Because the IT/OT gateway eventually dissolves, and you're going to need some
Yep,
microsegmentation protection. That's
that's
exciting.
right.
Hey, for people
Yeah,
who want to be in touch with you guys, what's the best way? Is the website the best place for them to be in touch with you?
absolutely. Elisity.com. There's a couple ways you can contact us from that portal. There's also the elisity.com/knowledge with a lot of documentation and video content that we create here on the technical marketing team, and it's really interesting stuff. We keep it live and fun, and I'm sure people will enjoy watching those videos as well.
That's fantastic. Well, Dana, listen, on behalf of my team at Tag Cyber and our whole the whole community watching, I want to thank you for taking some time to share with us. This is an important area of cybersecurity. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work. Good for our
Absolutely.
industry. Helps keep hackers out of our important stuff. And we'll look forward to chatting again soon.
Absolutely. It's always great. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you. And for everyone else watching, we'll see you next time.